Hello, Goddess. Welcome back. It's Andrea with You Are Mind, Body, Soul, where I guide goddesses to bridge the mind, body, and soul through psychosomatic education, consciousness reconditioning, as well as goddess alchemy. I have a beautiful academy that you can join by checking out the link below. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and please turn on the notification bell so that you can get updated when I post new content onto YouTube. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So I am creating this video, and honestly, this is going to be such a raw channeling of my truth. I'm not even sure if I'm going to post this video, to be completely honest and completely transparent with you, okay? Because some of the stuff I'm going to talk about is controversial, but I have to state it because it is in alignment with my truth, with my goddess truth, my higher self, based on my experiences in life, based on showing up for myself, cultivating my energy, my truth, and just showing up every day for life fully, authentically, and not just glossing over the details. So what I want to talk about today to start is healing versus transformation. And just the term healing alone, I know that there is a trend when it comes to doing self-care work, self-help, self-discovery, and exploration, where healing is a big part of the topic. But what I want to do is encourage a movement beyond just the paradigm of healing. And as you know, I have my notes here. So if you see me looking down, that is what I'm looking at. Okay. So it is very important that we do our healing work. Okay. The nature of our human existence is to be in a state where we are constantly ascending and transcending through the levels of our wellness and our well-being, mind, body, and soul. If you're showing up for life every day, and you are doing it, you're fully involved. If you're watching this video, chances are you are showing up for your life in a full mental capacity, which means that you are questioning your environment, you are questioning your life, you're questioning yourself and your thoughts and your beliefs. You are showing up for yourself spiritually to an extent, which means that intuitively, if you are guided to a certain space or place or person, you follow that voice, okay? And you're being true to yourself to an extent. And physically, you are showing up for life in a form of taking care of yourself as best as you know how, okay? So there comes a point where you start to show up for yourself and you wonder, what is beyond healing? Okay, so when we are healing and we use the term healing, I want you to understand that what is happening is when you talk to your body and when you are allowing your subconscious mind, which is the controller of the entire reality, our behavioral patterns are 95% based on what the subconscious mind has programmed. So that is how you are raised, that is your family, those are your friends, your culture, the things that you associate and identify become ingrained in your subconscious mind, okay, which is then going to determine your behaviors and your belief processes. So if we are allowing ourselves to get away, we're allowing our subconscious mind to get away with the thought and the belief system that I am in a state of healing. Like if you're constantly telling yourself, I'm healing, I'm healing, I'm healing, you have to take a moment to pause and say, okay, when do I get to actually transform? Because let's talk about healing, okay? To say that you're in a state where you need to heal is to program yourself with the idea and with the vibration of you are not well and that you are not whole and that you need something that you lack or that you are missing. So I want us to start to shed light and bring awareness onto the statement of healing. And yes, doing your inner work and going through your self-care journey and your self-love journey will heal you. And it is important. But I want to state just out loud in the open that there is more to life than just healing. And I originally came across this idea and this concept, and this is the controversial part, when I went to church. When I was younger, I was born and raised in a Southern Baptist. Well, first it was Judaism. It was Messianic Judaism. I went to school, and then I also was going to a Southern Baptist church. Okay, and we would go every Sunday, and towards the middle or the end of the service, I would notice that I would always end up in a vibration of self-pity. Okay. And I just started to notice that I would wake up, I would go to church in the morning, and I would be good. I would be good on my way to church. Like, I would feel fine. And by like midway towards the end of the church service, I felt like I was a victim, and I felt like I needed to call on this source outside of myself for the healing and the support that I didn't even know I needed until it was programmed into me. Can I get an amen? Okay. And it was like, it started to get strange to me. I really started to feel like, I don't feel like a victim. I don't want to be a victim. I don't feel like a victim. It was like my higher self, my goddess self, stepped in, and she knew that something was wrong with the vibration of feeling lack. It was like a poverty mindset that was being perpetrated through the service, okay, to draw. It was like my energy was being drawn out of me. And it was like my energy was being depressed because it was being sucked out of me to make me believe that I needed something outside of myself to feel whole and to feel well. Okay. And so when we start to see ourselves as needing healing and not being well, we victimize ourselves. And then what it also does is it redirects our attention outside of us. And therefore, we start to believe that we don't have the solutions to the issues that we have. Okay. And the healing that I'm talking about is the healing that we all have the power and we have the control over. Okay. You have been given the access to the answers to the issues, because with every problem, there is a solution. Most things, most questions have an answer to them if you know how to look in the right place. And chances are that by looking in yourself, you will find the answers to all of these things. Okay. So healing is a construct, like the idea of it is a construct. And before I move on, I do want to say that yes, there are instances in where we actually have real things going on and you need to seek out help outside of yourself. But what I'm talking about is getting stuck in the trap of giving away your power, is stuck in the trap of avoiding looking at yourself and looking at the internal sources and the root of the issues. You see, I have a pre-medical degree, so I am familiar with the medical realm, the medical world, and diseases, origins of diseases. I've studied immunology, how the immune system works to fix itself. I've studied neurology. I've studied neuroscience, psychology. I've studied genetics, and I've also studied spirituality, and I've studied the spiritual body, and I've studied consciousness. And one thing that I've learned is that everything has a connection. So every illness and every disease, and you can read from authors like Caroline Myss and authors like Judith Ann O'Day to further go into this information and to go into these understandings, okay, to find the truth of the answers and search yourself for these things. But at the root of every physical illness, mental illness, is a spiritual or energetic source for these things. And this is something that I realized firsthand in doing the work on myself and also collaborating with my medical sources, with the doctors, to confirm the process that I went through to get that healing. And without going into the details, I can tell you that every physical issue that I have experienced, when I approach it from a place of sitting and being conscious with myself and being conscious with my emotions and not ignoring my emotions and following my emotions back to the source and connecting them with the issue, that I have found the healing. And it's a whole process. I'm not saying that it's something that is necessarily easy, but I'm saying that it is possible. Okay. And what I want to provide on this channel is a route to the belief in that. Okay. So healing is something that we have to do at the root, which is deeper than what the actual physical symptom is. So when I was in my medical studies, I was aware that there is a difference between the allopathic and the osteopathic route. Okay. So osteopathic doctors, they actually look at the root of the issues, whereas allopathic doctors, which is what you're going to run across more than likely if you're in the medical system, if you have to go to the emergency department or something like that, you're going to come across an MD versus a doctor of osteopathy or a doctor of naturopathy. But as I was being exposed with these different pathways of medical healing, I was brought to the awareness that it's important that we look at the root of the cause. So I had that awareness as I was working inside of the medical field and working next to doctors and looking at people with diseases and issues and watching how the doctors work through that process and treating the symptoms rather than the actual root of the cause, which is usually behavioral. Because the majority of diseases are preventative, okay? And I'm going to talk about that too. But what I was brought the awareness of was that there's always going to be a root of an issue when I was in my medical state. And as I began to grow out of this and I began to seek natural paths, spiritual paths, working with food, working with plant medicines and things like that, I also started to realize, it became apparent to me, and also through reading, that there is always going to be a spiritual or an energetic root to whatever issue it is you are dealing with, especially as a woman, especially as women. And anytime it comes to any kind of feminine energy, feminine issue, there is going to be an energetic spiritual root to this cause. And there is scientific research that backs this. And you can also just search the wisdom of your soul for these things. Okay. Now, there is a difference between healing and finding a cure. All right. So we don't want to get them confused. Having a cure for something and healing something are two different things. Having a cure for something is when you can take the symptoms away completely. And on paper, the lab work, everything is clear because there has been some kind of medication or some kind of procedure to remove whatever is showing up as the illness. That is a cure. That is when you use medicine and when you use things outside of yourself to find the root of, to find the source of the healing. Okay. But what healing is when you actually do your work on yourself and you process emotionally why this disease occurred, why the illness occurred. Because at the end of the day, illness and disease is just a lack of energy and motion. So if emotions are energy and motion and they move through us, they're supposed to move within us and outside of us, and we allow ourselves to let the emotions pass through us versus allowing them to be trapped in there by not acknowledging them, by stuffing them down, by putting ourselves back in these scenarios where we know we are going to end up finding that coming back across that same emotion again. That is painful. That is an addiction, these emotional addictive behaviors. The healing comes from breaking those cycles by being decisive about how you're going to break those cycles, by seeking guidance through a coach or by seeking guidance through a professional, any kind of medical professional, if it's something that's clinical, so that you can start to work that stuff out. I work with women who, before they met me, did not realize that they were the ones that were in control of how these things manifested from them for themselves, because they were always in the mindset of being a victim and being in need of something. Okay. The way in which you talk to yourself is the way that you program yourself, your subconscious mind, again, because it's 95% of our behavioral responses. The way in which you speak to yourself is the way in which you prime yourself to be prepared to grow out of these patterns. And everything is a pattern. So you want to be clear about how you're talking to yourself and the verbiage that you're using. Okay. Because the body is going to respond to whatever the brain tells it. And we control our thoughts because we have that animal aspect of ourselves, but then we have the higher consciousness of intelligence, and then we have that spiritual consciousness. We can choose to control our bodies. We can control our physiological responses through our mental habits. Everything starts in the mental realm, and then it kind of slows down and it becomes more firm and denser in the physical realm. And so if you are always programmed, if you start to program yourself with I am healthy, I am well, I am whole, you use your wellness mantras, your body is then going to start to believe that, and then it is going to start to shift into the vibrational pattern of health and of wellness. But we have to get the fear out of our bodies and out of our systems by facing them. So do that thing that you are most afraid of that is holding you back. Because the more that you avoid your fear of any kind of illness or of anything that you feel may be out of your control, the more power you give it. And this is something that I have also learned when it comes to the power that I give things through my belief. The more that you believe in a fear, or the more that you believe in an outcome, the more power it's going to have over you. So one of the ways that I deal with fear, especially when it comes to my health and to my wellness, is I face it head on. If it's a diagnosis that I'm afraid of, I'm going to go and get it. I go get it checked out. Okay. If there's any kind of outcome or anything that you're afraid of, you just get up and you do the thing. Don't think about it. Don't overthink it. Don't give it power. Make the plans and go face that thing. And this will make you so powerful. The moment that you make a choice to step outside of your comfort zone so that you can get out of this stage of your reality, because reality, as we know it, comes in stages, okay? And if you are being limited into a particular stage of your growth or your development because you have allowed a certain fear to control you, then you are limiting the experience and you are limiting your experience of life, because it's all been collapsed down into this shell of fear that you've allowed yourself to be in. Think about children. Children are virtually fearless until they understand the rules of reality, right? A child's going to put their hand on the hot stove. They're not going to be aware of edges and different things until they recognize and they realize these things. So as you were going through your developmental process, there were certain things that you were programmed to fear. But what I want you to do is do a check-in with yourself, and do this regularly, and ask your fears, confront them, and confront yourself about them, and ask yourself, are these fears still relevant to me, or were they something that I developed over time and through my development to keep me safe or to give me this false sense of security? And there is your healing. Okay, that's an easy way to heal yourself and to make sure that you're keeping your energy clear, because the vibration of fear and the vibration of poverty will create so much disease in your body, and it will create so many energetic blockages in your body, and you will feel trapped, and you will feel like a prisoner in your body. So it's the quickest way to expand out of those stages of your development and of your consciousness. And you use that by using your self-talk to program and to affirm, using the power of your mind and using the power of your will to tell your body how you want it to vibrate. Okay. And even if you are in a place where you are actually working through a serious illness with the use of medication or whatever have you, if you have been presented with a cure, you still want to be talking to your body in a way in which you are pouring into it health. Neuroscience, and there's a lot of scientific material out there that talk about the power of the mind over the cells and healing. You can even just study the placebo effect for this, okay? The placebo effect is a classic science thing that is a classic scientific process that was developed through many psychological practices that basically give you the actual medication and then a placebo, which is like a sugar pill. And they tell the patients that they are going to expect a certain outcome, but they don't tell you whether or not you're taking the real one or the sugar pill, okay? And in many studies, the people that did not know that it was a fake pill, but they knew, but they were told to expect the positive results, the positive effects of that medication, they cured themselves through the power of their mind. So the placebo effect is basically just you reprogramming your subconscious mind, which informs your body and tells your body how it's going to vibrate, which then becomes dense material products, manifestations. So you can always reprogram yourself just by choosing different thoughts. And when those old thoughts come back, all you got to do is say cancel, cancel. So if you're trying to get yourself into a new thought process, a new habit, all you want to do is when those old thoughts come up is just use the statement cancel, cancel. It's a powerful statement that I found when I was going through my hypnosis learning, when I was a student of hypnosis, of self-hypnosis, okay? So just use a statement, cancel, cancel, clear, delete, get that out of your energy, and then you reprogram yourself with the affirmations that are going to support your healing, okay? So once you start to change yourself, your reality is going to shift around that. And one of the most powerful statements that I started to use, and the vibration of this statement that I started to use in the recent past that has changed so much for me, is the statement that everything is working for me. Everything is working in my favor. If there's traffic, it is working in my favor. I see the positive in it. It gives me an opportunity to slow down, to reflect on my day, to listen to a lecture that I want to hear, or an audio book. We want to accept. So learn the power of compassionately accepting your reality, especially when it's uncomfortable. Because when you accept it and you acknowledge it, again, you are facing it and you can move forward. And it is either going to go through you and it's going to process, or it will just move out of the way. But the more that we see something and we resist it and we choose to not see it, we choose to not acknowledge it, or we choose to beat it down aggressively without accepting that it has a purpose, that it is there for us to work for us, the harder it's going to be for it to be integrated into us and serve as an accelerator and a support for our future. So let me check my notes. Yes, everything is working for you. And just use this. It is like a magic potion, a magic statement. I absolutely love this statement. It has been a game changer for me. Because every time I come up against a challenge and I say, this is working for me, all of this is working for me, it takes my subconscious mind and it redirects my attention to how this is going to be a benefit for me. Because again, the thing with the brain, which is why we have to be goddess alchemists, is that you can always trick the brain to reprogram the body. When you make that statement that everything is working for me, the brain does this amazing thing that basically it filters everything out of your reality and out of the situation to make you focus on that which is serving you, that is working for you. Whereas if you resist, all the brain's going to do is filter to you the things as to why this is an issue. So we have to stop complaining about our life, and we have to stop complaining about our circumstances, because again, that depresses our vibration, and it does not allow emotions, and it does not allow situations and truths to process so that we can process them out of our body and out of our life experiences. We accept everything and we allow it to work for us. Okay? So it comes from the now. And if you want to try a little experiment, what you can do is pick a mantra, okay? And you're going to use this mantra for 30 days. Pick a mantra. You can use my mantra, everything is working for me. Try it for 30 days, say it every day, remind yourself, and see how much that changes your life. Just a little project for you, an experiment. Give it a try. Okay. So we've talked about healing and how the idea of being in the process of healing kind of limits you. Okay. Not only does it limit your brain's ability to support you and to support your body and to support your vibration, what you do is when you put yourself in the victim mindset of anything, you are tapping into the vibration of everyone on the planet that also has those same low vibrational beliefs about themselves and about their reality. Because everything is energy, everything is vibrating, especially thoughts, which is why if you've ever had the experience of thinking about somebody and then they call you, it is because energetically in the vibrational realm, in the fifth dimension, which is moves differently than this physical material dimension, you are aware. Your senses, your sixth sense is tingling with awareness of other people's thoughts towards you, because we are all connected at the end of the day. So we are utilizing these things, these awarenesses, and you want to be careful about putting yourself in the frequency and the vibrational frequency of being a victim of anything, of being a victim of anything, of being in need of anyone or anything, because you are a sovereign, free, divine human being. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe if you are feeling this message. These are things that have changed my quality of life significantly. And I've helped women change the quality of their life just by applying these simple principles in these simple ways of thinking. So be careful with the thoughts and the programs that you subscribe to, because as soon as you subscribe to a program, you're also going to be subscribing to the vibrational frequency of everyone else that believes in that program. And we want to be changing our lives. We want to be transforming and not just healing. Okay, we want to break out of the cycle, out of the circle of needing healing so that we can get that transformation. And when you start to transform, you start to have new experiences and you start to engage in life from a completely new and different level. So that's all I have for you today. I hope that you have enjoyed this message. Please like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification bells. And I hope to see you in the next one. One love. Mwah.